Chemistry Room Fragrances is the perfect addition when elevating the vibe of any space. Whether it's your home, car, or office, and something needs a quick refresh, our room fragrances provide that beautiful burst of fragrance with just one quick mist. Shop now at www.chemistryroomfragrances.com and be sure to follow us on Instagram at Chemistry Room Fragrances. Chemistry Room Fragrances. Smells so good.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your girl, Camilla Estick. I am the host of the Speaker Podcast. This is the podcast where innovators and creators connect. Tonight, I have a special guest on. Before we do that introduction, I do want everybody to go right now. Make sure you have hit the notification bell, you are subscribing, and tag and share with a friend. We want to definitely get some people in tonight for this amazing conversation. And with that being said, also go to my website right now, grab all the merchandise. All the first-time subscribers, you'll be able to use the coupon code GBM15 there on the Blackman website, which is gbmofficial.com. Follow us. We're there on Instagram at gbmofficial.com and on Instagram at Good Black Men Official. And shop with me. My room fragrances are out there available at chemistryroomfragrances.com. Excuse me. So we're going to get right into everything. If you were there with me in season 2 of the Speaker Podcast, you have probably heard his voice, but now we have a face with the name and the voice. The one and only Keith Pauldo is here. We call him Pauldo, but Keith, trying to be formal, but you know, all of us back in the day, we just call you Pauldo. So Pauldo, thank you, and welcome back to the Speaker Podcast officially.
Oh man, it's just a pleasure to be here. I'm so proud of everything that you've done in creating this brand, creating this platform, and just continue to grow and do your thing. It's just an honor to be a part of it for you.
Thank you. I truly appreciate that. So since on your last visit to the show, first of all, let people know who you are and what you do, those that are not familiar with you.
Yes, I am Keith Pauldo, as she said. I'm a Middle Tennessee alumni, and just a man of Omega Psi Phi that's really trying to hold it down and build and create a new legacy for my family for generations to come. So, just a generational curse breaker, a generational setter, and just a true man of God that's looking to build and promote unity and partnerships that help each other grow around.
Absolutely love it. And then on your professional end, what have you been into lately?
Just helping people start their own businesses, helping create that platform for them to be able to grow their generational wealth as well, instead of just focusing on the 9 to 5 on a consistent basis. Because we all know, if you don't have that protection for that 9 to 5, then if something happens, what are you gonna do? So you
Right.
got to have something to fall back on.
That is so important. And those are some things I want us to kind of get into tonight, starting out our conversation. That being said, hopping into generational wealth, and you're talking about building legacy. I always say, and I know others have said it, but I say it, first of all, GoFundMe is not life insurance. I will continue to say that. People have gotten mad at me because, back when Kevin Samuels died and somebody, I've said, mentioned, it was no shade to him, but I'm just saying how important it is to have life insurance. And it's just become such a thing because every time, particularly with our community, I know others, but when people die, They doing a GoFundMe. And it's like life insurance is not expensive at all. It's
No,
very inexpensive.
yeah, no, it's not. Depending on what kind of policy you get, yeah, it can definitely be affordable. You just have to take the time out to discuss that. Like you said, we need to do a better job of having these conversations to where they're not taboo, that it's just part of the norm, so that we could be on the same page and be able to provide those possible resources to each other whenever we need to.
Yeah, it's one of the easiest ways to pass wealth from one generation to the next is through life insurance. And I don't think people really realize how easy it is to do that.
No, I know they don't, because, like I said, having the conversations with people, just telling them, like, and not to mention, it is a tax free opportunity as well to be able to put that money into that situation and then transfer it over without the courts being able to get involved with the probate and all of that stuff whenever someone does pass away. So you got to have that will and trust to go along with that as well. That's part of those three things that we tend to miss those opportunities with the life insurance, the will and trust, to be able to pass that generational wealth down.
Yeah, and can you kind of I keep wanting to say call you Pauldo. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
that's all good. You know that.
That's
that-
how I know
That's
you.
it.
But
That's
it's,
it.
that's it. But as far as unpacking really some of the financial benefits outside of tax incentives, can you kind of do that for the viewers and listeners as far as what are also some of the other perks that comes along with having life insurance?
I mean, just like you said, just the understanding of knowing that your family will be taken care of if something does happen to you. So you do get the opportunity not only to save money, but it gives you that peace of mind to know that, hey, I'm doing my best. So even when I'm gone, I'm still going to continue to do my best to have them at the forefront.
I absolutely love that. And in terms of you were saying helping others build their brands, can you kind of dig out a little bit more what that entails as far as what you do in brand development?
Sure, absolutely. Just the biggest thing now, with us being in the digital age, is being able to automate things.
Hmm.
And because it requires capital to automate, you have to find a way to be able to increase that capital. So the easiest way to do that is to leverage one's credit score, right? So if you got your good credit, then you can create a business. If you have the business already, then you can leverage your credit score on that business to create those lines of credit that you need to create the capital you need to purchase um, podcast equipment, to purchase new microphones, anything that you need to grow your business. You'll be able to have that capital to immediately go into that, which again can create more revenue to again grow your business even further.
Yeah, I think that's something more people like I started, doing this straight with nothing. Like I just had my MacBook, I didn't have a mic, I didn't have a camera, I didn't have anything. And just over time adding little things and yeah, it can be a little pricey, but in the long run, it's going to pay off. But even if people say, well, hey, I don't have this. And that's why I wrote the book, How to Start a Podcast with Less Than $100, because, you may not have, a starting capital of a couple $1,000. Just start. The key is just start.
At all times, like there'll never be a good time to start. Like that perfect time does not exist, because every time you keep going, there's going to be something that comes up that says, oh, I need to devote my time to this or
Right.
devote my money to this. It's always going to be something. So you have to start where you are, using the resources that you have right then and there, and then continue to grow that. Now, as you get that further information, you have to start to implement that information and
Mm.
continue to move forward.
That's really good. So where are you now as far as I know we talked previously offline, but can you kind of share a little bit of your journey and inspiration, Pauldo, as far as what made you want to shift and get into this industry in financial literacy for our community particularly? Like what was your origin of this?
Man, the crazy part about it was, like you said, everybody has their stories when it comes to finances and credit cards. But back in the day when we got on campus, you wanted to get that free T-shirt, you got you a credit card, right?
They were handing out Red Bulls, credit cards, and T-shirts, and water bottles, and backpacks. And back now, you can't do it. but it
Hmm.
was because of what it did to our generation that they pretty much blackballed companies from coming on campuses because they were predatory.
Exactly, exactly. So I fell victim to it and got going, and then when it was time for me to go out and purchase a home, I actually realized that I didn't have anything that I could do anything with. So after going through that and feeling the embarrassment of not being able to get what I wanted, a good friend of mine simply contacted me and was like, "Hey man, do you know anybody that needs any help with raising their credit score or even wants to make some extra income?" And at that point in time, I just threw up both of my hands and said, "How do you know me so well?" And basically that's how I got started, and ever since then it's just been a deep dive further and further into it to learn more and more on the subject, and yeah, it's led me to here.
That's good. And for those, if they are interested in terms of, and we're going to circle back again, but if they do want to reach out to you, what would that look like, and how can they contact you to do so?
Man, I'm a very personable person. They can reach out to me on social media platforms. My IG, Instagram, it is Ask for Pauldo. Again, you can look me up on Facebook, Keith Pauldo, or Pauldo Enterprises, and I can also be reached by phone 615-428-2265. Give me a shout if you need anything to talk about financial literacy. Let's get it done. I'm here for you.
Excuse me, allergies.
Bless you.
Thank
Bless
you. So I think one of the things that's so important why we continue to have these conversations about financial literacy, particularly with our generation, is because most of us we weren't taught about money. We weren't taught about the benefits of life insurance. We weren't taught investing. And so we've kind of had to fumble our way through it and kind of figure it out on our own. Thank God now that we have social media and the internet, where things are readily at our fingertips, and YouTube University. I graduate every Friday. Just learning different things, but just thinking like, man, if we had this information when we were in college, because these kids are coming out of college now millionaires just because they've learned to brand themselves while they're in class. They already have created a brand. They've already created a social media footprint presence. And so, yeah, they're getting a degree, but they've also created other avenues and ways to make money.
and that's what it's really all about. It's to leverage yourself to give you options. Like the truth is, my biggest thing is to help the youth. I want to give them what I didn't have, so that they can make the better decisions based on not wanting to be able to find money, but they can focus on their schoolwork. If it needs be, they have the money to do what they need to do in order to get the books they need, in order to get the equipment they need. They have a way to leverage that, so now they can again continue to grow their brand, as well as getting to their passion that they were talked about in school, so we can all grow at the exact same time, which only provides an additional resource for the next group to come through after us.
Exactly. And Sharita said that's a great info for the future, not only for the future, but even for right now, just because we were talking before the show started, and I was like, man, I can't believe I've been a member of my organization 25 years. And it doesn't seem like that long, but time flies and you blink and you think you're just young. But no, Father Time is calling.
Hey, like I was telling you before, we are now becoming the OGs of the fraternities and sororities, and
Oh,
again, we have to be those bridge builders. We have to lay that pathway for them to come behind us, so that they can forge ahead and create those new paths for everybody else.
I know, but I don't want to wear that T-shirt that says "Rich Auntie Vibes." But it's the
Man, I wear mine proudly. Look, I'm gonna tell you. Look, this story. This is the funniest thing. When I realized that I was having to make that turn,
word
so I I showed up on campus again. I'm in Murfreesboro, right? So
right.
I'm on campus at Middle Tennessee. So I go on campus, and I realized that some of my daughter's friends go to school there now, and someone yells out, "Hey, pops!"
No,
Oh man.
and you were probably walking like I know they're not talking to me.
Listen,
Yes,
you used to walking on campus like, yeah, this is me. This is where,
this is
yeah,
my
hey
yard.
pops,
Yes,
hey pops got me, and I was like, yeah, turning over that new leaf. This is
They
the
said
new
gay
page.
pop. I would have felt the way like,
Nah, I was excited to see him, and it was amazing. Like they ran up to me like I was the big man on campus still, but it's a different big man on campus.
yeah, I have not gotten the Auntie Cam yet. Thank goodness I have not gotten Auntie Cam yet. And I'm like, thank you, Jesus. We're gonna keep Auntie at bay. I'm
That
not
that,
ready.
that means you need to come back to MT a little bit more. That's all.
Maybe next year, 2023, I'll have to make a cameo because I was seeing the pictures like, oh my people. I mean, I will say this, and we're getting into another part of the conversation. So, first of all, shout out to the Raiders for they destroyed TSU in that game.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, MT. But I was telling somebody the other day, I was like, yeah, MTSU, it is a PWI, but for those of us that were Black on campus, it's like we created our own HBCU experience within the PWI. So, yeah, we went to a PWI, but the way we turned up back then, it
Ooh.
gave total HBCU.
Oh yeah, you know they was running down the street to come see us in Murfreesboro. They just couldn't wait to get down there. They talk all that stuff, but they was ready to come down here and party with us.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I remember, well, it's probably too far back. My first Omega Sci Fi party, I was a freshman. We played TSU, and you guys threw a party at the Armory.
Mm. Yeah.
Took the doors off the Armory. No more parties at the Armory. But the thing was, they were like, and this is BC before Christ, all that, whatever. So I can tell this story without conviction. Thank you, God. But what I was BC, but I was kind of in between. I'm a church kid, but I was my first time away from home, so you know how that
Mm.
goes. But
Oh yeah.
anyway,
Oh yeah.
another story. I'm a PK. So they were like, whatever you do not get the cute oil. And I was like, keep in mind, I'm a church kid. I'm like, why are they drinking oil?
Yeah, yeah. Just a little different type of oil.
I
Just a
was
little
like,
different
what?
type of
It was
oil.
like the cute oil's gonna be flowing. That's what this is back when they would have flyers. You know, it was purple and I'm like, so we're gonna be greasy? Like, what's going on? I had no green as can be. Got there, what they say, mess around and find out. But you know what I'm really saying, and
Hmm.
we're gonna leave it at that. But
Yeah.
that was
Great
my first
experiences.
part.
Great experiences.
And I was in there like they were picking up people, and I was like, "Oh,
Shh, wait a minute. See, you still going. You gotta
honey,
slow
they got
down.
TikTok. They know what's going on." So whatever. But it was a definitely a eye-opening experience to be all these boots and stuff. I was like, "Oh my god!" So that was my first Omega Sci-Fi. This is way back. You know, we have
Yeah.
since then come back to the Lord. Thank you, God. But
Yeah.
this was when we're in between the pews. You know what I'm saying? But
Hmm.
yeah. So with that being said, fast forwarding, I live here in Charlotte now. So this summer, your bros, they were here in Charlotte, and to see Omega Sci-Fi on a conclave level was an amazing experience. And I was really concerned at first because, you know, we've had a lot of friction, excuse me, between the police and people of color, particularly Black people, these last few years, excuse me. And I'm thinking like, oh my goodness, they're gonna harass. We're all downtown. We're just gonna get harassed like crazy. But law enforcement here in Charlotte, as a whole, they were really cool. And like I was sharing with you, I was shocked. I was like, why are they not tripping? And so then um, on the news, they were doing an interview. Didn't know our sheriff is one of your bros. And I was like, oh, that's why the police had to act right because they didn't want the smoke from the frat.
Right. And I mean and that's why I like to tell people we like to party, we like to have a good time. But there is business that has to be handled.
Mhm.
And when it's time to handle business, we're some of the best people at putting on that business face and going at it. And we have that same tenacity and toughness, just as we would any other time, like the ones that play ball. When it's time to go get it, we want to go get it, and we go all out for it. So when it's time to put on that business hat, everybody's in line, everybody's ready to roll, and we work at it together because that's what we're all about. Behold how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity.
I did see that T-shirt a few times.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Um, and speaking of which, there are things that people see like on TikTok. Of yes, there's parties, they have fun, particularly more so on the undergrad side. But when you get to that grad chapter level, which I'm a member of the Beta Omicron Sigma chapter here in Charlotte, North Carolina. But there's a business, and I'm financial. There is a business side to the Greek life once you cross the sands again, because undergrad is more so development. There's leadership development. It's more so introducing you to the organization from the ground level. And I know some people may not come through that level. That's the level I came through, undergrad level. Shout out to Lambda Chi, they're MTSU, but it's just different. Um, there's business to be done. There's paperwork to be handled. There are budgets involved. There are so many things, community service, and those are the things that you don't always see. We see a lot of people now that have appropriated our culture, whether it's even down to our paraphernalia, our shirts, our jackets, line jackets, strolling, which I feel a way about that. I don't know how you feel about it, but it really bothers me when I see people that are not from BGLOs appropriating our traditions. And while people are, oh, it's a new day. Yeah, it's a new day, but there's a reason why we do everything that we do, and there's a history behind the stepping and the strolling, and there's a reason why we have these line shirts and these jackets. And yeah, it looks cool, but there's a reason for everything. And so for you just to come into this chapter because you think, oh, it's cool or it's trending or it's hot, particularly being emphasis on BGLO. What are your thoughts and feelings on that, Pauldo?
Well, like you said, at first I did feel some type of way about it. But again, what's that old saying that the biggest form of flattery?
Is flattery.
Yeah. So it was like, okay, but now it's time for us to again take that to the next level and raise that standard up. Like if they're gonna follow us, then let's raise the standard to make them follow us to a higher standard. And just continue to put that out there as far as being better than the status pro.
Because it's
So
not a trend. They're making it like, oh, this is a trend. This is just
right.
gonna get my follows up, whatever, on social media. But there's a struggle behind that. Even why we were founded, how we were founded. There's a history there.
And just be out there with it. Let them know the history behind everything that we're doing. Like don't just show them that part. Show them the entire part of it, because that's the reason why we're here, is to show that we can make it through the struggle and still shine bright.
Yeah, I totally agree. It just seems like there's a generation now. What's that song? They do anything for clout. It's a lot of Greek clout chasing out here online, but it's like, do you really get what really happened? And even like next month, with my organization, we're going into our centennial. This is our centennial year, but it will be officially celebrating 100 years of Sigma Gamma Rho. And just
Congratulations, big shout out.
thank you. But as you know, when y'all had your centennial a few years before us, but it's something about that centennial year, and it seems like we're always learning more and more about our organization or our founders or what they were experiencing. I'm thankful for the growth of the internet and social media, because even this summer, learning even more about what the founders experienced. And when I crossed many moons ago at MTSU, like, I don't know how it is there now since I've been away here in a different state, but it was like a thing, like within a certain time frame, hey, go to Alpha Chapter. And so we got to go to Alpha Chapter. And when we went to Alpha Chapter at the time, we still had a living founder. And so we got to call her son, answer the phone, and she's there on the phone, and we're screaming and hollering because our founder's on the phone.
Oh yeah, that's love right there.
Yeah, and she passed away the next semester. But the fact that how many people can say they've had that experience?
Hmm.
Or a couple months, like I told you before we got on 2 weeks ago, during a grad chapter meeting, one of our SOAR grand bachelors just walked in the room.
Hmm. Yeah, you get those experiences, especially when you're working and producing things at a high level and making moves in your communities. When you're doing the right things, you're blessed by higher ups that are in your organization. You get to rub elbows with them because, again, if you're doing good things, they need to find out why you're doing it and how you're doing it so that we can implement it across the board
Yeah,
to become something as the norm instead of just a small intricate thing here and there. You want to create that same platform across because, again, like you said, we're always striving to get better. We're
yeah.
always looking to make this a better organization. Each and every year over year, we want to get better.
Yeah, it was very humbling. Back in August, I sat down and did an exclusive one-on-one interview here on the Speaker Podcast with another Grand Pass Basilisk, our 23rd, Sora Benita Herring, and she crossed in 1970 in Chicago. And she was sharing with us during that time period how some of the sorors up in Ohio, they had to pause their process because that was at the time when the excuse me, the National Guard shot and killed 4 Black college students on the campus of Kent State. And so she was telling us about the racial tension she was experiencing coming through SG Road 1970. And this was after the assassination of ex-King Medgar Evers. All of this happening at the same time. And I was like, can you imagine if you and I were online then in that atmosphere, what that would have been like?
Yeah, I can't even fathom what that would be. Like you said, that's just got to be some tough times. Even when looking at some of the founders, we were talking about just thinking about the Kappas when they were founded on the campus of Indiana University.
Right across the
Like,
street from us. Yeah.
what did they have to go through to get through theirs? Like they really had to go through some stuff to get theirs started on the PWI. Ooh,
Well, yeah, we were on a PWI as well.
right,
We later found out over the summer that literally down the street, the Grand Dragon of the Klan was
exactly.
coming for my sores. And so at that time, the president of the university hid the names of our founders on the campus rolls because they were doing night raids and they were looking for our sorors and other Black women. So they literally hid their names on the rolls so they couldn't even be found.
Like that's the type of stuff that you had to go through, and that's where we like to talk about discretion in so many aspects as well, because it does take some time to understand who's with you and who's against you.
Yeah.
So you just gotta make sure that you keep a close eye on your friends and keep your enemies closer.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the things as far as Black history and Greek life, because, you hear a lot of myths, a lot of junk out there saying, oh, it's ritualistic. You got people online denouncing their organization because they're like, God told them to do it. And it's demonic worship, all these crazy things that I hear about Greek. And I'm like, well, I'm saved Christian and Greek. And if that was the case, I wouldn't be here. So let's kind of unpack that a little bit about being a Christian and Greek life, like pledge or not to pledge. Like I'm saved, I love God, but I want to be Greek. What are your thoughts on that?
Man, I
It's a
had
real
this guy.
question. It's a
It,
real
it,
question.
it is a real question, and that's the crazy part about it. I never thought it would be a question like that. As far as them denouncing their organization on live streams and things like that, is, I mean, to each his own, I guess. But for me, like I said, you didn't announce it like that when you were going through the process. So why do that going out? I mean, just bow out gracefully and just keep it moving. It
That's
is what
kind
it
of how I
is.
feel, and it's a bad look, I think, to the org because this is me. I feel like maybe there was some personal rift going on, and so now it's like you want to do this expose, you telling things. And I'm just like, but where was all the noise when you were excited about joining?
My point exactly. My point exactly. Like, just, I mean, hey, it was a reason why you wanted to join the organization. Again, what was that reason? I guess again that's another thing that when we talk about the interview process, or the process that you go through to be selected as a member into your said fraternity or organization. Like, it really has to be a more of a reason for you to say I want to join. So that's just something that goes a little bit deeper into it,
No,
like
I
someone
get it. But I
just
think
said.
there's a lot of impact made from Greeks, like those that have joined what we call the pearls, so the ones no longer with us,
Mhm.
versus now when we look at global impact, community impact. And you and I were talking about this before the show, as far as when you, if you go to every website, whether it's SU Omega Psi Phi, Zeta Phi Beta, whatever organization, if there's a section that has like notable members or most prominent members, if you click and read those names and really take that in, these are our people, our brothers, our sisters, our ancestors, those that came before us, some not living, some still living, and read those names. Wow.
Some of the greatest names in history. Like,
Goat, goat legends
it's-
and goats. And I
yeah,
mean, it's just full of legends and goats. And I'm like, so if it was that demonic or whatever, why are all these people here? Why am I here? Why are you there?
yeah. That's, like I said, that's just, to me, it's just, yeah, it's a heavy subject, and I don't condone it all the way through. But hey, like you said, if that's what you want to do, hey, go ahead, do what you do, get out the way, and don't bother coming back.
Yeah, I believe if it was like that, I would have never even participated. Like,
And like you said, if it's something that I don't, like I said, I don't know why it has to be a public denunciation. Um, be, but hey, I guess that's what they said. God told them to publicly denounce it and do
I
that. That's
guess
what it is. I
I
guess
guess
so.
I was reading a comment and someone said, "Well, if there's nothing wrong, why are you guys so secretive?" And I'm like, "Are you serious?" Like,
So when somebody says something like that, I say, so you have a family, right? Do you air all your information about your family out into the world?
you don't.
You don't. So it's the same situation. You have your family dynamics, your traditions, your things that you do. This is what you do. Everybody doesn't need to know that. Everybody doesn't have to know that. But if you want to learn that, you're more than welcome to come on over and we'll teach you. But that's the process that you go through to learn.
Yeah, it was. Like I said, just being at the conclave with you all, since it was here and I was here, I went, and just because I had to, being nosy and just like what is going on, and just walking around, and Toya and Bridget were here too, so I wasn't out there by myself,
Yeah.
but just to really, because her husband is one of your bros, D-Rex, and just to really see the unity and the brotherhood, very respectful. No one was, of course, there was, always something, but it was just like as a whole, very respectful, very organized. We went to the step show. I met one of your bros. Oh gosh, I don't. His name was Mr. Aaron, and he's been an Omega Man for over 60 years, and just chatting with him. He was the nicest guy. And he was like, "Thank you for talking with me." He was like, "My wife just passed away," and little petite little man, but he was sweet as can be. And just seeing your bros, it was cool. It was a really cool experience.
Yeah, man, that's something we look forward to every couple of years, is just getting everybody together. And like you said, just it's something about that energy when we all get together that just makes us want to do better things.
That's good. And then circling back to the beginning of this conversation, I know we kind of got from the Greek thing, but that's what happened when you get Greeks here. We're going to talk about some Greek business. It's just how it is. And I've known Pauldo since I was a freshman at
20
MT.
something years, 20 plus years.
Now, see, people can do math. Okay, so yeah, Met you in 97, 98.
Hmm.
Man, you crossed the 98.
I did.
Dang, we getting old, bro.
Yep.
Really?
Yep. Yep. I told you we becoming the OGs in the game.
Listen, so it was a long time ago, and Charvo, he was like, "What's up, Charvo?" Charvo was like, "It seemed like 98. It seemed like half the yard, half of MTSU was online in 98. I don't know what it was about 98, but 98 went hard. Like it was crazy because like we saw people going in class, nobody was talking, everybody just be like, and keep going, and then you start, yeah, seeing all these probates, and it was like, man, like, yeah, half the school was online in 98. It was crazy.
Oh yeah, but it turned out some great people. I tell you that.
98 was that year. I don't like that spring fall line was hitting. It was good.
It is what it is. Yeah, we had some great people come through during those times, and
Yeah.
I wouldn't change y'all for the world. You hear me?
Y'all my people. Like seriously, 98 was that's I got a special place in my heart. But anybody that came through 98, we have a special place in my heart for sure. And just looking at it now, like our classmates doing wonderful things. Phil is killing it. You're killing it. Torrance is killing it. I think I saw Michael Shaw. He's doing something with the Miami Marlins. He got another promotion. Like just a lot of our class. Willie is stay on.
Real estate going at it. Big shout out to the real estate. Hey, keep going.
Man,
You know
like
you,
our
you know you can
class.
call me if you need me.
Yes, our class is doing some amazing. Hey, I might hit you up too, but it's like our class is doing some amazing things, and to see us as kids on campus to where it is now and how we've grown into adulthood and having these conversations about financial literacy and the importance of life insurance or investing or how to even create business credit, like that is so important. So now getting I don't know if you've gotten into NFTs. I started kind of reading on it just a little bit, but it's so many layers to it. Just understanding like, hey, what is an NFT? How does it work? Does it make money? And in that world of cryptocurrency, because there's so many questions about the future of cryptocurrency and where it's going. Like, what are your thoughts on those things, Pauldo?
See, to me, like I said, these are all just different investment avenues that we have available to us. Now, I tell everybody everything. I don't know everything, but I do know somebody that knows something more than I know. So
Mm.
if I know somebody that knows something more than I know, I'm gonna go lean on them a little bit heavier to find out more about it. And especially if it's somebody that has had success in that area, I'm gonna go talk to him. I'm gonna be like, "Hey, bro, I don't know anything about it. What can you do to help me get to that point? Or can I lean on you to just be that person for me?" Like, there's so many different ways and avenues that you can go about that. So I do have my guy that I talk to. I don't want to mention his name because I don't know if he needs any further clients at this time. So I'm gonna hold off on that just so he's not bombarded. But yeah, it's just about finding the right people with the right resources that you need, and again, leveraging your network. We have a bunch of friends that have a bunch of resources at our disposal, and we just need to utilize those. And that's the biggest thing with business as it is. The more partnerships that we can create, the bigger the investment opportunities can become.
I think that is important. I have two questions for you. The first question is, why do you think, particularly within the Black community, why are we so reluctant to reach out and ask and say, "Hey, I don't know this," and then two, the importance of this is great, but getting offline and making that person to person connection.
I guess it kind of goes back to the Joneses thing. People always want to keep up with the Joneses. They don't want anybody to know that they don't have this or they don't have that or what they actually do have because, again, pride, ego, all of that is strong in the Black community. Um, and for
Why is that? Like, where
it's
does that come from? Or why are we so reluctant to ask for something that we know we need help in this area?
it's just it's people are tired of getting burnt. Like, a lot of times we get burnt by somebody that doesn't know anything about certain things, and and we try to go through that process with them because it's the cheaper route. And when you try to take the cheaper route, it's usually when you end up following through the things, or if it's way too easy and we want to try to get the easy way, the quick, fast way. So we try to go through that process and it doesn't work for us. So now anytime somebody has something that's worth it, you don't want to invest in it because you already been burnt by the easy route that you took, not knowing that you got to go through the process. You got to go through the steps.
But isn't that more expensive because then you spent the money on the easy route, then you have to go and pay somebody to fix what they did and then pay them too. When you should have just maybe paid $100 more and got the better service.
That's the biggest thing. That's the myth. Like you didn't understand it at first, but yeah, it costs you more money to go the cheaper route. That's just like starting a business and creating your infrastructure. You don't want to go cheap on your infrastructure, and that's something that I learned from my late frat brother Daryl Freeman. Um,
Hmm.
he said, don't go cheap on your infrastructure. Whenever you start your business, you want that to be the strongest part of your business so that you can flourish from that point and brand outward.
And that's your systems, your automations, getting your foundation laid. I think, and even I've learned too, you get a business idea and it's like, oh, you get excited, you want to jump into it, and then great on the creative end, but I think us as a community learning, we're great as creatives, but you also have to learn the business side of business.
Hmm. And yeah, and that's like you said, that's just a part of putting your big boy pants on, getting on YouTube University, and going through those different resources and learning,
Yeah.
and then start putting in those actual applications, starting to apply them, and
Mhm.
making those moves. And again, that's where you find somebody that has already done that before and see, can they help you. Again, it's only two things they're going to tell you when you ask them, can they help you? Yes or no.
Or they're going to direct you to someone that can.
And that'll be even better.
Good, good. So as we begin to wrap up here, first of all, I'm so thankful that we've been able to kind of catch up and have this conversation. We've touched on some great points, but before we end everything, do you have anything like that's coming up, maybe new products, books, whatever that you would like people to know about that you've got going on?
Man, I'm really now focusing on trying to help people get funding for their businesses. Like you said, getting structured in the right way so that the funding can take place, and just really trying to help people grow. I want to grow 1,000 new businesses in the next year or so. If I can do that, I'll reach my goal of supporting our community. But yeah, that's my goal is just help as many businesses grow to whatever level they're looking at growing as fast as possible. Like I said, I know it's still going to take time, but it still can be done.
That's awesome. And do you have like any takeaways and also where people can reach you as far as social media? Because I know we are working and pushing to grow and reach that next level. And sometimes when the funds are coming in, we want to be hood rich and ball out and hold off on some of the spending. And let's do some financial planning and getting some things in place. It's okay to celebrate the win, but just touching on the importance of maybe planning for your next.
No doubt. My is again, it's about budgeting. My biggest takeaway is just budgeting. I try to do my best of minimizing the amount of money that I spend as far as on myself at certain situations. But yeah, the 70-30 rule. Like I say, you take 10% for tithes, 10% investing.
That's
Yeah.
important.
Oh, that's the first and foremost. 10% for tithes, 10% for investing, 10% into savings, which actually goes into investing as well. So then the 70% is the amount that you live on for, your daily, your monthly expenses. So just making sure you continue to follow that. If you can make that 70 go further down, even better, because now you're starting to make your money work for you versus you work for your money.
That's good. And where can people contact you on social media? And then any final points?
Oh yeah. On all platforms for the most part, IG, TikTok, Twitter, I am Ask for Pauldo. Again, on Facebook, I'm Keith Pauldo in Pauldo Enterprises. You can look for me there. Again, my phone number 615-428-2265. Never hesitate to shoot a message. If you have anything, no question is out of the place when it comes to financial literacy. If you got a question, ask it, because somebody else may have that same question and they need to hear it.
I absolutely love it. And I'm so glad to have you here. It's been great. You've given us some great information. I can't wait to have you back. Just to tune in and let us know how things have gone with the growth of your brand. We love to hear about it. Anything that's new, if you're launching anything, hey, my show is open. My platform is open to you. If there's something you need to promote, I'm just an email away. Have no problem. Because you like Olive Garden, you hear you family.
Yay, I love it. I absolutely love it. It will be something coming up soon. I'm just recently we have started a new nonprofit called the Way Community
Okay.
Foundation. So be on the lookout for more information about it coming soon. It's I think it's going to be huge, and it's going to be sweeping the nation coming pretty soon.
Okay. Any little teasers to kind of give us an inkling about what that's about, or we gotta wait?
I mean, it's called the way for a reason. Again, I'm a spiritual person. I'm a religious person when it comes to spiritual, and staying connected with the Bible. So just know we're walking in the way of the Bible.
Okay. I think I kind of know. Okay. 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 So we're gonna let that sit right there. As I said on social media, if you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
I picked up on it, so I got you. So I'm gonna say, congrats in advance on that new venture because I think I know what that is. Okay, so I can't wait to hear about that. Everyone, be sure to follow me. I'm on Instagram at Camille.Essick and on TikTok. And I just opened my new Amazon store today, as a matter of fact. So all my favorite things and finds and all things for all the bougie girls is there on the shop. I'm adding stuff daily, so go right there and grab that merchandise. Of course, if you haven't heard, I also launched a line for the brothers. It's called Good Black Men. So go right there. I started the Instagram page that is Good Black Men Official, and we have merchandise for all my amazing, beautiful black men at gbmofficial.com. Go grab that today. If you happen to miss this episode, no worries. The replay will be available on my YouTube channel, so be sure to hit that button and subscribe. And once again, this is Camille Essick, host of the Speaker Podcast. This is the podcast where innovators and creators connect. I hope everyone has a good night. Be blessed. Look at you. You just
Couldn't hold off.
why
Sorry.
do people say can't take you nowhere?
Nowhere gonna always represent. All right.
I but in another breath, that's my kind of carrying on. So
Yes.
and the same church made the Lord watch because we
God bless you.
all right, y'all. Good night.